Ladies, I had a mammogram last week. My boobs will never be the same. Mammogram. Ticket. Extra ticket.
I had a mammogram and a baby in the same year.
All right.
Who has sold jewelry to the tech? Hand crank your
Awesome.
She looks up the way to the ticket.
Yeah, those are from my
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was wondering what how do I interact with Regina now when I bring her catalogs to her? Yeah. But you can actually turn a compliment into a customer with one or both breasts hanging out.
It's on YouTube. It's live on YouTube. Okay, good.
No.
It's free.
National rally favorite thing. Who wants to go first? Go, Sarah.
Okay. I love the speakers that they bring from the outside. Like, it's just something new and a fresh perspective on life and business. I just can remember like tidbits of different speakers brought in each year that have just like really stuck with me in my business and in life.
I love that. That was a great takeaway. Yes.
You have the hook, Laura.
Thank you.
Where's Regina?
No, you can just give her a takeaway. It's where you get it. I get a ticket for watching my girlfriend.
She's covering my tent. Covering my tent. Yeah. She's got my tent covered. What? You have a takeaway?
Yes. Her new jewelry.
Yes.
Because yes, it's not just seeing the jewelry, it's fun, but you also get verbiage and training so that when you roll out in your parties, you speak in a way that you sound like you know what you're talking about. So just being like, hey, here's another sparkling They give you terms. You can sound like a professional and you can talk about fashion trends with confidence because you've been trained in it.
Where's my
Okay, you guys are gonna get chance to look at it.
Hold.
Right here.
Talking about fashion trends.
Her name on your tickets. We're gonna do our first drawing.
So I was going through some magazine that has randomly started showing up at my house, the Stolen magazine. And I was flipping through and I was like, oh, look, great tassel necklaces. And then I flipped to the next page and I was like, oh, look, multi-chain thread. And I flipped to the next page and I was like, oh, look, YP earrings. You know, like, it was amazing how everything in that magazine either had something almost identical or very similar. I was like,
Our design team does such a great job of staying on top of it. Okay,
Okay, well, tickets for now. Is there somebody coming?
quick, we've got Tegan and Stacy coming. Come on in, ladies. Oh, look, Stacy's got her bright scrub pants on.
And I got really bright shoes on.
Okay, our first winner. Okay. Did you ladies get a ticket in?
They got just a minute. I'm sure. Okay.
Michelle. Woo! All right.
The stuff.
I think this is mine. Yeah, might be. So today I'm going to read, it was reflections from Andy Horner, which are on our dashboard. Andy Horner is was the founder of Premier, and we each day, is it each day they update them? Get some thoughts from him that he's put down on paper. So I looked up to see what today's was, and it was about quitting. So I'm going to read this. I quit, you quit, we all quit. What an exciting place this world would be. True, all of us, as we've gone through life, have quit or been tempted to quit. The word means withdrawing, to give up, admit defeat. It has a negative reaction that endures and affects all of our future. Life is not a bed of roses. Building a life or a business is never easy. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in our problems that we let the clouds block out all the sunshine. If we're in a business, maybe we just see it as a job or a money-making machine. To truly enjoy your work and for it to be fulfilling, there needs to be more. You must see it as worthwhile, as making a contribution through serving, encouraging, and helping others. Yes, we can get discouraged, tired, weary. We may want to resign or try something different. If we're reacting to a problem, a personality, or circumstance that might change, we might be making a mistake. Most of the time, quitting is not the answer. It can become habitual, and the first time a problem, disagreement, or hurt comes along, we give up easily. Quitting makes a dead end of any road, often just as it was opening. Should we come to a point of frustration, maybe feeling it's not worth it, stop, wait a while, and talk it out with someone you trust. If it involves your business, talk to your upline, your sideline. You may make the same decision, but talking it out will help you make a wiser decision that will have less future regret. So that was today's. I wanted to share it. Thank you. So I was really struck when he talks about the word means withdrawing. We have a really strong part in our makeup that wants to isolate when we feel like things aren't going well. And that is not from the Lord. He does not want us in isolation. He wants us to be connecting and getting our hearts and our buckets filled up. Someone pointed out to me that it's important to reach out and connect when things are going really well and to build that scaffolding and that support network when shit has not hit the fan. Because you're going to need the support when the chips are down, which are inevitable. And if you wait until that moment, you're not going to know where to turn to get your heart and your bucket filled up. And so she summed it up by saying, you always want to keep your support level higher than your stress level. So it's kind of a ninja trick to living life is keeping your support level higher than your stress level. So does anybody ever relate to that feeling? Like, do you ever feel like it's just me? I'm the only one who ever wants to quit. Yeah. So I just wanted to encourage you, if anybody heard my Silent Tip Tuesday last month. I know, I had no idea it was silent. But I had really good things to say. A lot about connection and support and just making sure that you don't let that isolator speak lies into your mind and your heart. So that is what I have for you, ladies. I feel like we should pray. How's that sound?
Yes.
All right, I'll pray for us. Father God, we love you so much, and we are so thankful that you've given us a time and a space to gather together and to share our hearts and our hopes and our dreams and our frustrations and our excitements. Lord, you promise that you will lift us up when we're weary. You promise that you will strengthen us and that we shall not grow weary in doing good, because if we can wait on you in due season, we will reap. Lord, I want to lift up anyone who is hurting tonight. Just ask that you administer especially to their hearts. We love you so much. Amen. All right, who do we have next?
My favorite thing about rallying is the opportunity to encourage our sisters who are going up for recognition on stage. I love, just being down there in the mosh pit of cameras and taking pictures of everybody. Going across the stage for various things, and the things that you'll go on the big stage for our national rally are so achievable. You'll go on stage for being a star jeweler, for promoting to any level of leadership after that. And the star jeweler is the first level of leadership, and so attainable. And then resale club, sponsoring club, and all the different things. I feel like that's such an important thing, because probably all of us don't really get a lot of recognition either in our workplace or. So, you just hear ladies time and time again say, I work in corporate America, nothing like this ever happens, or my kids don't get up in the morning and like, oh, I think it's such an important thing, and they do such a good job at rally.
Come on up, Tammy. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So we have so much training packed in for tonight. We're just going to keep it rolling right along. We've got Tammy who's going to share a little bit about what a 24-hour booking challenge is and how it might be a helpful thing in your business. Thank you, Tammy. Yeah. All right, this is really, I think I copied this right off Sayla a year ago. But so this is a shared thing. So before I start, I usually I do this at the beginning of the year, and then if I need to do it like mid-year, I'll do it again. But I will make a list of who I'm going to contact. I try and shoot for 50 people, but sometimes it's less than that, and it's past customers, past hostesses, family, friends, pretty much anybody. And then I start off by changing my profile picture on Facebook and on Instagram, and I put like a 24-hour booking challenge, and I can share all my images, thank you, tonight on the group. And then I usually do my first post and I just copy it like that. And so you can decide, are you going to be giving away the first year I did it? I did retired jewelry or pieces that I wanted off my table as an incentive to book a party. So I had them all in like a little dollar store bag, and I just, when I went live saying I was going to do this booking challenge, I said, if you're booking a party with me, you'll get a free piece of jewelry. Could be earrings, bracelet, or a necklace. And this year I didn't have pieces on my table, so I did $20 pieces. Like I had a pick collage of like Durango earrings and It Girls, and I said pick one for having a party with me. You can play with that.
And then I do the first post, and then I immediately start texting, calling, Facebook messaging people from my list of 50. And then a few hours later, I do a second post, reasons why you should have a party, a new line of jewelry, or with your friends.
Question.
Yes.
Maybe I missed something. So your post is this verbiage, and then you're messaging them what?
I'm messaging them, hey, I'm in a 24-hour booking challenge.
Got it. So this
Yes.
is what you're messaging.
No,
Got it.
this is on Facebook.
Okay.
And it's pretty simple, just I'm in a 24-hour booking challenge, will you help me out? Booking a party, you pick the month and the day of the week that works for you. And I will let you know.
And even though you're doing this on Facebook, they could be booking in-home parties.
Yes,
Yes.
and I think I put that in there, it says, Facebook,
Right here.
yep, office, yeah, it can be any of the parties, of course. I'm gonna want an in-person one, but if that doesn't work, then I will book it. Any of the other ones. And then a couple hours later, I say, everybody's getting a piece of jewelry. If I can get 6 events booked in my 24 hours, I'm giving away, I'm gonna draw for $50 in jewelry. And then if I get 12, then I'll draw for 100. And if I get 24, then I'll draw for a grand prize of 200. And I set that reminder out, and I'm still texting and messaging people. Hey, I'm in a challenge right now. Will you help me out? You will get a free piece of jewelry.
At this point, after you message people and I start with Facebook Messenger because you can see it. And at this point, if they haven't seen it, I switch to text.
Ooh, that's a good.
So I switch methods of communication because if they're not on Facebook and it's been 8 hours at this point and they haven't seen it, then I switch. And I message, I text them instead.
I like that.
Then do you?
Yep. So, similar to like our textathon, where you text 3 times, I use the same thing for this. And so I don't always quite make it 5 different ways, but you can do it 5 different ways: call, text, email, messenger. Show up at their door. I've never done that. But you, with all these posts, I also like to put in some either like a quick video that Premiere gives us, showing off the jewelry, or I do like a boomerang of my own jewelry at home, just a quick short little video to get people excited. So I'm putting those kind of throughout my posts. And make sure I say thank you to everyone who has booked, so it looks, even if I haven't gotten very many, it looks like I'm getting a ton, and people are like, oh, I'm missing out. And that 6th post, actually, I think this time got me 4 parties.
Wow.
Just in that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then usually when you get towards the end, I'll do a live video and a drawing. And then you also mention that you can jump on my live video even though I'm drawing for the 100 and book a party. I'm not very good at watching for comments, but I say I will. So yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I'll totally catch that. Yeah, and so each time I've done this twice in the beginning of the year and then once in the middle of the year, and I get at least, I think, 10 bookings. So it's a good way to start your year. And I will.
Going on your feed, not like in the VIP group.
I'm also putting it on my business page, but I'm doing it also on my personal. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a VIP group, but I do have a business. Yeah. And I will put all my images on the group. Wow.
Thank
Can I ask a quick question? Sorry, go ahead, Leah. Okay. For VIP group, business group, whatever, do you have people? Customers? That one I've heard, yeah. And then, is this page? Okay.
I don't have that because you guys My question was, can you post your verbiage of what you're messaging people through text?
And I love what Jamie said, is that she's not just putting stuff on Facebook and sitting back and waiting. Like, she's putting it up on Facebook and she's working all of that direct personal contact at the same time.
I heard someone say, announcing that you're looking for bookings and inviting people to have a party. So that you kind of like, if you're just blasting it out there, you're just announcing, I'm looking for bookings, but more about inviting them would be key as a follow-up.
That's a Phillips thing. I was gonna say, that's a Phillips thing right there, Kate. Maggie said, and she's gonna be training on it later. So we're good, right? She'll just take over training, that's fine. Yeah. So y'all have a handout for me? We just were like all about the handouts tonight. It's fantastic. Okay, so what I want to talk to you about tonight is about scheduling your business. So think about your premier business. Do you schedule your work times or do you just schedule your appointments? If you have scheduled office hours, what exactly are you doing with that time? When we say that you get to control your calendar, what does that even mean? How do we do that? So I'm going to go over some things. There is so much more that could be covered in this, and I would be happy to do follow-ups with you, ladies. So you've got that. We're going to kind of go through this handout. So I'm going to break this down for you, but what I want you to think about, I said it's based on 10 hours per week. That looks like 1 to 2 jewelry parties a week. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Well, you know, my darling husband was like, wait, you're training and you're speaking and you're running the AV. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, I'm like, why is this a surprise to you? Anyway, okay. So 10 hours a week. So that would look like 1 to 2 parties a week. So if that is what you are running, then 10 hours is kind of what you're shooting for. Oh, thank you.
1 to 2 parties a week.
1 to 2 parties a week.
Okay.
That would be 10 hours. That would be about 10 hours a week. So I'm going to break that down for you even further. So if you're doing more activity than that, so let's say you're doing you're consistently doing 2 parties a week, then you're going to take that number and double it. If you're doing 2 parties a month, then you're going to take that number and cut it in half. Okay, so this right here is totally scalable for what you are doing and what you want to be doing in your business. Okay, so what do we do with that 10 hours? The majority of the time should still be spent sharing the jewelry, but there's a couple different things that could mean. So this 6 hours includes my jewelry party. Okay, so it also includes the other things that are on your paper. It includes the hostess hand-holding. It includes calling hostesses. It includes following up with customers that were at parties. All of those things are included in the 6 hours. Okay, The next category is the 3 hours of sponsoring. So this was something that I was like, oh, duh, right? Like if you have 10 hours a week and you are wanting to build a team, that means you have to spend time building a team, right? So sponsoring can mean lots of things also. It can mean calling those hot prospects and inviting them to your next thing. It could be following up with people that either expressed interest or you had an OP with them either recently or a long time ago and you're just calling to follow up with them. Or it could be the actual like one-on-one, let's have coffee and talk about the business. So that's 3 hours of sponsoring. So ladies, if you are wanting to build a team and you're not doing 3 hours, that's why you're not building a team. Okay, so that's what else you can do to fill up that 3 hours is another training. Okay, and then the last hour, developing your team. If you have even one person on your team, you need to be spending time every week pouring into them. And what that looks like, you just touch base with them and help them with their goals. Make sure they have goals. Do they have them written down? So it's just an hour. So if you have one person on your team, it's probably not going to take you an hour a week to touch base with that one person. She might feel a little bit stalked. So don't do that. But unless she wants that, that's a different story. But if you don't have anywhere else to spend that hour, then find a running buddy and talk to them about, hey, I'm thinking about this is what I'm going to do for my sponsoring activities. What do you think about that? Or this is where I'm at. How are you doing? Like all of those things. So still spend that hour in your business. This might look a little bit different if you have a team of less than a couple people. Okay. So make sure I didn't miss anything on my notes here. Okay. On the back of your sheet, oh, my words didn't show up. That's okay. They're on your paper. On the back of your sheet, there is a blank weekly calendar for you. No, there's words right here. It's really hard to see because I switched it's black. It's just really hard to see because I forgot to change that part. It's okay. So this blank weekly calendar, so here's the meat and potatoes, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to think about everything that you already have as an obligation. If you have a full-time job, you're going to write that on there. If you have kids that are in sports or in piano or whatever, you're going to write that on there so you know that that time is not available. That's not true, Leah. Scribbling over the whole thing. When you actually write it down, you know I have 2 jobs and I homeschool. So you can do this. Okay, good. So what this really is for is setting up your ideal weekly calendar, okay? Because if you really think about your life, your week doesn't change all that much from week to week. There are seasons where your whole schedule is different, and then you create a new ideal weekly schedule. So about every semester, my whole calendar changes, and so I sit down and I do this again. After you get everything in there that you already know, your job, your kids' activities, your church involvement, whatever other things are like permanently on your calendar, then you can see where you have time to put in that 10 hours. So you want to try to include flexible options in your calendar, which I'll show you an example in just a second. But what that does for you is it allows your hostesses and any potential prospects some flexibility. So they can't do the weekends. Okay, how about a Thursday night? Or they can't do Sundays. Okay, how about Saturday? So you schedule in a couple of different times that you may or may not end up working. But what I'm going to show you is what that actually looks like on my calendar. Yes, it's color coded. So this is my ideal weekly calendar for this semester. I just sat down and did this. And what it's going to show you, obviously I've got work, like I school my kids, so that's what we're doing. Tuesdays, my kids are at my mom's house, and so I don't have to teach them anything. Saturdays is blocked off for family day. So what this does is this really helps you and your family to know when you're working and when you're not working. So the flex time I was telling you about, I've got Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays when I could have a party. So when I'm showing people my calendar, it's going to say, I'm going to have tags on it. I can have parties on Tuesdays, Thursdays, or Saturdays. Now, or Sundays. If I don't have a party on Thursdays. I can have a date night that night, right? But if I have one, then it's moved here. But let's say I don't have a party scheduled on a Tuesday. Well, girls, that's part of my 10 hours. So if I don't have a party that night, that doesn't mean I'm going to sit on the couch and watch a movie. What that means is I'm going to sit on my couch and get to work. So this right here is part of my 10 hours a week that I'm scheduling. So it can be any one of those things.
So then that would be the like follow-up calls or
Yep.
Scheduling other events. Or
Yep. Yep. Or scheduling coffee with a prospect if I don't have a jewelry party, because a lot of times those are quick. They're quickly on your calendar, right? So your parties usually are a couple weeks out when you schedule them, and your OPs are usually a couple days out. So it's nice to have this flexibility where I know these times are the times that I have available to work. So what I didn't show in this part was I calculated out like, okay, how many hours am I really actually, do I have 10 hours on my calendar, or do I need to shift some things around? So when I got done with this, like, yep, got 10 hours. Okay. So the other thing that you'll see on here on Friday afternoons is that I have a planning time. So this is kind of separate from that 10 hours. What I want to be doing is really spending about half an hour every week thinking about the next week and the next couple weeks. So I do it on a Friday afternoon because it sets me up for the weekend and then into the next week. So what I'm going to think about in that planning hour, I'm going to think about, do I know what else is different for next week? Do I know what events I have? Do I know? That's just going to really set me up for, okay, who do I need to contact and all of those things. That's what I'm going to use my planning time for. And then I'm going to take that time also and look at the next 4 weeks or so and figure out, do I have the events on my calendar that I want to have? And if I don't, then I know where my focus time needs to be, is getting more events scheduled on my calendar. Okay, so at the bottom, I just have that you're a business owner. Whether you're working 2 hours a week or 20 hours a week on your Premier business, you are a business owner. So treat it like a business. You schedule everything else in your life, schedule your work hours. And like I said, it doesn't have to be 10 hours a week. It's up to you. And then make your schedule flexible, but not optional. So again, if I've got a party this night, great. If I don't, then I'm gonna have to plan something. I'm not just gonna be like, oh, good, I don't have to work tonight. That's great. Because that's when I have scheduled to work. So, okay, any questions?
Beautiful.
I can send it to you. Oh, the other thing I forgot. Thank you, Steph. The other thing is we've all got a paper calendar of some kind, right? So this is great to use to book your jewelry party. So you can be like, okay, girls, so I've got all these available dates. But when you're scheduling your time, I said that was an ideal week, but I don't necessarily need you to have another paper calendar. You already have one. So we underutilize this part that's in the middle. Look, there's weekly spreads. So use these. So put in your stuff that you would have in there. So that's why I have an ideal weekly calendar. And then I use this to write in what's actually going on this week.
I love that.
Yep.
Another part of that is that you can count all your personal stuff within on the weekly pages, not like a monthly calendar. So in a monthly calendar is a potential hostess. Like she gets to hear it, she knows this, why you're not available on other days. Keep that more
On the weekly.
So I was talking to Maggie this week, she scales for it, got this from the designer training, we went to a meeting, and Maggie was talking, and I just thought it was so awesome what you were saying about how having this actually makes us stress. Like, can you share more like about why would having this type of boundaries actually be within?
Yeah, so I've been I just usually and so I've gone out like a week in advance and planned out pretty meticulously my day and set office hours in there. You know, all the other appointments, someone's going to steps. But then for my office hours, I've gone through and I figured out what I need to do that. One of the important things on that day during my office hours.
When I get to that day and go down to the office, I already know what I need to do. So as long as I accomplish those things during office hours, I feel less stressed. Honestly, yes, I feel kind of always stressed all the time because I felt like there's always something I should be doing. What did I forget to do? Contacting. And so since I planned it out ahead of time, I can know for the rest of the day that I did what I needed to do. I have more time to do more. I think it's just easier for me to separate than going to my office hours and go do things. Like, no, I know I need what I need to do.
Yeah.
For sure. Right. What do I need to do?
Okay. Try to get on track here. Okay, rally favorite thing. Dahlia, we're next. Darling. Yeah. Tell us about that.
So we go in, there's this big room, and all these people are doing amazing work. Places to go after school and wheelchairs to do this amazing work and so.
Awesome. Anybody else rally favorite thing?
My roommate.
Rally favorite thing. I do too. I like you getting my coffee. Thank you.
Yes, we appreciate that.
I think like a lot, pretty much. Maybe a coffee card or three. That's pretty nice. Hey. Everybody have their tickets in? Hey, y'all. Bell.
Can I touch it?
Awesome. Okay. Yep. Tegan, you're up. Tegan's going to talk to us about fashion.
No, I do need one more. Oh, Nancy. Okay, all right. Would you come just over this way, just so you're all kind of in a similar spot? Okay.
He made it.
Sorry, I just won't.
We're her tribe, you can ask her whatever we need.
Love it. Okay, so my deal tonight, so I'm talking fashion, which, if anyone, I don't know, there's a couple people maybe that have been a show that I've run, kind of know is my weakest area is talking about fashion. It didn't come naturally by any means and still doesn't. And so when I walked into my very first party, I totally blew it when it came to fashion. Steph was there. So I ran my training show because I'd seen Steph do it like 3 times in the last 2 weeks, leading up to it. So I ran my training show and I was like,
doing awesome, and then came to the fashion segment and totally crashed and burned. And I picked the lady with the Jaws graphic tee to be one of my models, and like it was all downhill from there. So what this is gonna lady with yes. So anyways, I just figured out really quick that that was my weakest area. That was what I didn't like talking about. I was super uncomfortable with it. And so I went back to my strengths and figured out what it was that I did feel comfortable with. And so I kind of developed this game that really hasn't changed that much since my training show almost 3 years ago. And so I've tweaked it a few times and kind of, you know, obviously plug different things in, but it pretty much runs similarly to that. So what it is I am going to just kind of ignore you people for a couple minutes, and I'm gonna just do my fashion show here with our volunteers this direction. So hopefully that's okay. And it has been too long since I've had a home show, and so I need to just kind of get back into it. But anyway, so ladies, it's so nice to meet you all. I'm so excited that you all came tonight, and I've had a chance to tell you a little bit about Premier and the company, and I hope you understand what a blessing it's been for my family. So we're gonna play a game now. I'm really, really excited about it. So the first thing that I need is 3 volunteers. So out of 5 of you. There's 1, 2, 1 more. Perfect, great, thank you. So can you each tell your names? Lisa, Abby, and Nancy. Awesome. So these ladies are gonna be our volunteers, but you are not off the hook, so you can be part of it as well. So Lisa and Nancy and Abby, right, would you come on up and stand up here. So what I have here, and I'm going to show you all, is I have a tray of jewelry here that is really just kind of jumbly. So on this tray is 3 different styles of jewelry, and your job is to get our 3 volunteers dressed in the 3 different styles that are on here. So it may look like a lot of jewelry, but your job is to get all of the pieces on the tray onto our 3 volunteers here. So you're welcome to, if someone puts a necklace with an earring that you don't like, you're welcome to borrow and move things around. And I love the jewelry that you all picked out, but I'm gonna have you de-bling. I see you're on top of it already, which is awesome. So now what I'm going to do as you all are working together to get this onto our 3 models is I'm going to go get a sip of water because I am really parched. And you have 5 minutes to get all of the jewelry up on these ladies. So thanks so much. Go. Okay, do it. You really do that? I really lost my What do you do, Tegan, if they're like, yeah. I don't come back in.
It's a long drink of water. So you got the plastic bowl, so that probably goes. All that records.
Got it. Oh, I can't balance it. Oh, like that one.
So looking good, and I'm passing out tickets if I'm hearing compliments to one another. So.
Oh my God, you look so beautiful! I love it. Oh my God, I love it.
What are you thinking?
Yes.
Oh, you guys look like you could be jewelry ladies. You put so many pieces together that are actually put in the same person. Don't they?
I guess.
Yeah. This was my
So occasionally, like, I'll have it where my volunteers are standing there and like 2 people stand up and start.
It's gonna be like a little.
So, I will, or that you're going to like my hair. I will come up and say like, oh, like, I love that you jumped up right away. Here's 2 extra tickets.
and hopefully get a couple extra people up off the couch. I really haven't ever run into nobody moving. So there will be times that there are 3 people in the jewelry party, one of them are trying to, putting it on themselves. But that is really how it works. And then I, channel my energy over to Lady and I soak up all the things that I heard in training about people saying about mixed metals and, whatever. I honestly cannot talk about clothes to save my life, but I can show, like, oh, this jewelry, it does this, and this is so great. And I love that you put that piece here, but it's so cool because this is actually part of this one, and so they all come together. And I'm really able to kind of talk about the things that I get from training and say the specific verbiage in terms of your arm parties and all of the funny things that you say about your jewelry. I can do that. But this is pretty much what it looks like. And I just have really good feedback from hostesses that are like, I just love the no pressure approach because I'm not selling it. Like, they are selling it to each other. And it's great. So, yeah. So, do we have a list of jewelry names? Good question. So they're all up here, and I'm like, you guys did awesome. You two take a seat, and I'm gonna stand here and talk about this one person. So I do then make it fashion showy. So I am like, oh, this is cashmere, and pull out your love it list, and you want to have at least 4 items written down, and then you get some extra tickets, and cashmere is so awesome.
Do you have a gift ready? The ticket thing too?
Yeah, I just have, it's lame. Like, if I don't have anything to it's free shipping, for whoever wants the ticket thing.
And I like all the pieces that you're using up there, but I can see this is what you would throw out at a jewelry party.
Yeah.
Is that they're $100 items.
For
So
sure.
for those of you guys who are newer and you're developing the trend, it's really easy when you're just getting started. Keep in mind, too, that you just put out $34 necklaces, $69, $71 necklace.
I always have a lot.
Yeah, you're putting out the higher dollar.
Yep. So it's all here. So it's like necklace. Generally, there's 4 pieces per. I will say the biggest trouble that I have run into is sometimes they just totally stink at like putting things together. And occasionally I'll have like dumb combinations. I'm like, so this one looks really interesting, but I'm gonna just steal this and move it over here. And let me show you what this looks like when I move it this direction. So there are times that I'm like, oh, I don't look cool with the like rose gold and Durango and all that, but I'm just gonna separate a little bit. So yeah, there are times that that would be the biggest like tweak that I have to do. You guys put all the pieces obviously in the right spot, which is nice. But some of it too doesn't have to be in a certain place. And so most of it, is mixed metal. A lot of things are. So yeah, that's it. Yay, thanks.
Okay, I need another Rally favorite thing. I know there's gotta be so many.
I'm sure Jeremy has more intelligent answer than you like.
All right, Jeremy, I want to hear it. We'll let you give another chance this time.
But anyway,
So that would be mine too. That rally was my very first time they take away from my children, and they were 15, 14, and 13 at the time. I got that long without having a vacation from them.
Right, Sarah.
Saturday is. of just put on. That's what I did, just watching them to be they just do.
I agree. I have one too. I don't need to take it. I love bathroom time. I love those long lines waiting for the stalls with women from all over the country that you've never met before, but suddenly you're besties waiting for the next bathroom stall door to open, and you're talking about jewelry combos, and you're talking about your rally experience, and there's some just really good bonding that happens in those bathroom lines. And it doesn't matter what ribbons you're wearing or where you're from or anything. I just think it's very, very fun.
And what is what am I gonna do? The rally actually ends after the church and worship service on Sunday. So that is included. Offset this rally is gonna be Friday, Saturday, Sunday this year. And so I just am super looking forward to that. Yeah. Because we've never stayed for
the Sunday morning.
Yeah, I was just thinking there's generally some kind of little invite to some little exclusive fancy table with some meal and some really important people that you get to just kind of sit and chat with, and really, really fun and inspirational to get a chance to just sit with people. And oh my gosh, the bathroom thing. For real. Like, we will stand in line and be like talking with each other. Like, have you ever been in a line like this? So happy to just stand there and talk to each other. No group of people that could stand that number of women and just be so kind to each other. Right now. Right? I'll do that.
You're up, Maggie. Yep. So Maggie and I went, as Kate said, we went to designer school, which was this amazing training that Premier put on for us at our Haven of Hope, which is in Texas. And they just really took really good care of us, and they gave us so much training. It was really awesome. It was great. They will be doing it again, so promote to designer so that you can go, because it was fantastic. And Maggie's gonna give us another piece of that training.
And I just wanted to say, I think one of the coolest parts about it to me was just that Premier pours so much training into their leaders. Like, they don't just expect Kate to train me, or the senior leaders to do all the work. They take it on themselves to train the leaders in the company. I just think that's really pretty awesome. So, okay, so I'm gonna talk about a system for sponsoring. Because if you're like me, then maybe you struggle to find an efficient and effective strategy for sponsoring. And it's not because I don't want to, but I've always lacked consistency. And I think part of that is a lack of organization and a lack of having a system for it. So we had this couple named Neil and Dana Phillips trained us for 5 hours one afternoon. It was intense. We had some breaks. They're awesome. But basically they used to work in direct sales. They had this huge successful direct sales team back when they were doing it. And now they do a lot of consulting and training and speaking and those sorts of things. And Premier has hired them to help us. So they trained us on all kinds of things, including the scheduling that Sayla talked about. But I think one of their biggest goals was giving us systems to help us to be successful. So one system is called OCI. That's what I'm going to talk about for sponsoring. And it's not a magical formula, but it kind of feels like one, honestly. They built their team using these strategies, and they obviously were very successful. And I know several of the designers left designer school and went home and implemented this and sponsored within like the first couple days. So yeah. So it definitely does work if you work it. And one of the things that I loved about their trainings is it's all just about working smarter, not harder, right? Because I don't necessarily need to be working harder or more hours. I need to be doing my work more efficiently and more effectively, just doing it smarter. So, but before you even get to the OCI part, you kind of have to start by
just rearranging your mindset a little bit about sponsoring. Maybe some of you have it down, but sometimes we get hung up sometimes on sponsoring and how much we want to sponsor someone, right? So we want to remember that sponsoring is something you do for someone, not to someone. It's not about you. Sponsoring is about inviting and enriching other people's lives, right? That's the purpose of Premier. And one quote that they had from their notes that I think is amazing. We could all just tell this to ourselves probably every day. It is not your job to convince people to join Premier. It is your job to invite enough people so that you will find those who will join. Which is just like this huge breath of fresh air, I think. It's not, you don't have to convince people to join Premier. You are just inviting them to listen. You don't even have to invite them to join Premier. You're inviting them to listen. Elizabeth Draper trained us a little bit too, and one of the things she talks about, I think, goes kind of hand in hand with that, just that we have to stop worrying about things that we can't control. And that is something that I've heard 1,000 times, but I need to tell myself that every day, because you can't control who's going to listen. You can't control what they think, what they say, what decisions they're going to make, but you can control the number of people that you invite to listen and hear about Premier. So do not try to take on things that God never intended you to have or to do, right? Which is also just another huge relief, I think, when we just let ourselves give up some of that stuff. So our goal is to become a professional inviter. You don't need to be a professional convincer or sponsorer. But so Kate kind of alluded to this. What we want to do is we want to stop announcing and start inviting. So there's two kinds of marketing. One is called permission marketing and one is called interruption marketing. So interruption marketing is going to be like a commercial, right? Because you're watching the show and it's interrupted by a commercial about a product. Honestly, the sponsoring activity that we do in our home shows is interruption marketing, because you're like interrupting, talking about Premier and the jewelry and all of that to tell them about the business. And there isn't anything wrong with that, but we just have to realize the difference and kind of the effectiveness of each. Permission marketing makes it much more personal. So kind of even with like the book-a-thon, you know, you're not just putting all these posts on Facebook and expecting the bookings to come in, right? That's more like announcing. But on top of that, then you're connecting with people personally by sending messages, and that's going to be your permission marketing. So again, on Facebook, try to avoid some of the announcing, you know, when you go on and you're like, I love my job, Premier is amazing, I get to set my own hours, and those are all good things. Who wants to hear about Premier? Like, who wants a side hustle? I mean, it's not wrong to do that, but you just need to know you're not probably going to get someone who comments and says, me, I want to hear about it, right? They might be listening, they're watching, and maybe somewhere down the road they will contact you and want to hear about it. But that's announcing versus a more personal inviting. So, when you're meeting new people who might be a prospective customer, hostess, prospect, whoever, you want to use good form. So this is basically just meeting people, right? And starting conversations. How do you talk to people and how do you get to know them? And how do you find out things about them? So form is an acronym, F-O-R-M. So F is family. So a great first place to start is asking people about their family, right? It's usually pretty safe, especially I think at jewelry parties, most of the women who are there are moms or grandmas, so it's pretty safe to ask about her family. O is occupation. You could ask, do you work outside of the home, right? R, recreation. What do you like to do for fun? What do you do on the weekends? What do you like to do with your spare time? And then M is motivation. What do you like about your job? So all of these things are just ways to learn information about her, to gather information about her. You're looking for green light cues, things where you're like, oh, well, maybe this is where Premier could fit into her life. Just seeing ways that you can help her to envision Premier in her life. Try to keep it positive as opposed to being like, well, you know, what do you not like about your job? Instead, we're trying to keep it, you know, on a positive level. What do you like about your job? And then maybe there's something similar that she would love in Premier. So starting with that good conversation, you know, when you're meeting somebody at a jewelry party, that's a good start, just a good way to get to know some things about her. So then you're going to use OCI. So OCI stands for observe, compliment, invite. Observe, compliment, invite. So observing, you did a lot of that when you were talking to her and getting to know her, right? If you had a chance to talk to her, you kind of use that form method. So you learned some things about her, you listened. It's more important to be interested than interesting, right? You want to listen when you're asking those questions, listen for answers. And so then for the rest of the party, right, you're kind of watching her, thinking about it, like watching, what does she do at the party? How does she interact with the other ladies? How does she interact with the jewelry? You know, is she one of those gals who's always suggesting other pieces for her friends? Or is she one of those gals who's like, I never wear jewelry. I don't have anywhere to wear this. You know, how does she interact? So you're watching those things throughout the party. And then as you're watching, you're looking for success qualities. So you have this big overwhelming list of success qualities, which is awesome, by the way. And I think that is a great thing to keep in your office, keep it on your desk, study it, memorize it. Just kidding, not memorize it. But we want to become people who are good at finding the strengths in other people. And so this is just a good way by kind of studying some of those qualities, and then you can study these women as you meet them and think about what quality does she have that might make her a good jewelry lady. And then you can compliment her on that. I mean, it's as easy as that, really. So when you have a chance to chat with her again, which may not be until checkout, I think a lot of time, I feel like I don't really get much one-on-one with ladies again until we're actually at the checkout. And maybe you don't want to necessarily compliment her in front of everybody, but you might have an opportunity in front of one or two other gals. So you're going to compliment her, and it needs to be genuine. It needs to be sincere. Don't just make something up. But you do want to try to come up with a quality that you feel like you've seen that you can compliment her on, and then you can invite. Do you have 30 minutes to hear about what this business could look like for you? So you observed her, you complimented her, and then you invite her. So an example might be, Susan, you are so creative. You'd be great at what I do, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Do you have 30 minutes to hear about career and what it could look like for you? And so you just made it super casual. You complimented her, and then you invited her to listen. You didn't invite her to join Premier because she doesn't really even know anything about it. She doesn't know if she wants to join Premier, but she might be willing to listen. Sending a video is not an invitation. We want to try to invite first. It's always better if you can do it in person, if you can talk to her about the business in person or on the phone or over Zoom, whenever you can, try to have so that she can hear your voice, because tone of voice just makes such a big difference, right, in conversation when we're just trying to tell people about the business. But if you can't, then send her a video, right? That's not a bad thing. But we want to try to invite her to do something more personal first. And the other great thing that I love about this is if she says no, which she will, right? A lot of them will, which is fine. But you complimented her and you made her feel good and you boosted her confidence. And so she can walk away from that conversation thinking that you're great, you know, and feeling pretty good about herself, because it's not about you, it was about her, the whole conversation, even if she said no to you. And so there's a lot less pressure.
She might end up being one of your people.
Right?
Every other
Yeah.
And or a jewelry.
Yeah. Yep, that's the goal.
Yeah.
But right, maybe she'll be like, well, no, but I'll have a party, you know, which is good
She
too.
might prove to me, that's what I'm saying.
For sure. She leaves thinking that you're pretty awesome.
Thank you. I'm thrilled for it.
Okay. So statistics. One of the things I really appreciated about Neil and Dana was that they have so much experience and have done this so successfully that they have a lot of numbers and statistics that they've been able to calculate right from their team. So 1 in 4 ladies will actually sit down to hear the opportunity. So if you need to do 4 OCIs in order to get 1 OP, and you need to do 3 OPs in order to get 1 new jeweler. So if you need 3 new jewelers, you need to have 9 OPs, which means using OCI with 36 ladies, which sounds really overwhelming. So If you need 3 jewelers, you need to do 9 OPs, which is 36 OCIs.
It does sound like until, but then you think like, it's really just a. If I break that down, like, that's really just intentional.
Right.
36 cold calls.
Right.
People on my prospect list. I'm not arguing that though, it's not just. Like
Right.
church.
Like,
Yeah, just 36.
36.
It's like 36, 45 seconds.
There's so many times when I have a compliment
Yeah.
to give to someone at work or wherever, like,
Yeah, you're right.
you know?
That's when you have to-
So if you think about it, if you can connect with and use OCI with 4 out of 6 guests at a party, then you've got an OP, right? And you didn't even do it with every gal who was at the party. You only did 4 out of 6, right? You know, because there's always those ones who are like, you're like, I'm not even gonna go there. So if you're thinking, I need 3 jewelers, but I do 2 parties a month, right? So you're not going to be meeting as many ladies at parties. That's fine. Yes, you just need to be intentional in the places where you are meeting women and just work on it. You can use OCI in any circumstance, like you said, at the doctor's office, at your husband's work party, like wherever, whenever you meet people, you could use that form conversation. Yeah, your grandma. That's like the theme of the night. So you just need to be more intentional and connecting with everyone. So hopefully you can see how that's a system that you can use regularly. For me, that makes so much sense. Instead of being like, go to a party and meet some ladies and invite her, you know, to join you here, right? For me, it's like I can think, okay, I'm gonna meet these women, I'm gonna watch them, I'm gonna compliment them, and then I'm gonna invite them. It's just feels like it takes a lot of pressure off me. It's like a system that I can follow. So hopefully that is something that you can use as well. Okay. Almost. We didn't give them any chance to get any tickets yet. In the last one. So we gotta do some tickets. Okay. So. These are one at a time. Okay. So before I do the next little bit, I want to know who is already registered for National Rally. Oh.
You guys get it?
Let's see. I'm trying to think of another thing that we can do tickets for before I do the next part.
Who's wearing a bright color? Or a floral, or a G-O.
I already got a ticket.
You already did
Yes, for now. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to talk about National Rally for a minute. So we've been talking a lot about why we love it, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about what it is and some of the details about it. Okay. National Rally is our once a year conference where jewelers from all over the nation get together in Texas. And we get to spend time together, but we get to hear about all the new jewelry. We get trained by our awesome leaders. We often will have somebody, like Sarah said, come in from outside of the company. So this year we have Christy Wright coming. She was here, she was at Rally last year, and she is amazing. She works for, her segment is Business Boutique, but she works for Dave Ramsey. So she has a lot of really great things to say about having your own business, which is great. So she'll be our guest speaker again, which is wonderful.
Okay, that's what it is. The dates this year are August 9th, which is a Friday, through August 11th, which is a Sunday. Most of you really don't have to be there until Friday evening. If you're a designer lunch is on Friday, so we do have to be there by noon. But most people, you don't have to be there until Friday evening. So that will make travel easier, hopefully. That was part of their goal, was to make it a little bit easier for people. And then Sunday will be done at 1 o'clock. And so any evening flights that we get out will be great. Let's see. If you are a new jeweler since July 1st of 2018, the cost for the whole weekend is $99. Okay, and I'll tell you about some extra costs here, or some extra things to keep in mind in a second. Yes. So since last July. Yeah. So yeah. So cost is just $99. If you don't fall in that category, but you register by, I think, July 1st, then it's $125 instead of the $99 that our new jewelers get. Okay. Yeah. So what that includes is it includes Saturday lunch and dinner, and then it also includes Rally Charm, and of course they always give us fun little things. Sometimes we get a book, sometimes we get all kinds of things. Okay, so that's what that includes. Let's see. So here's the other expenses. Airfare, you can expect that to be about $200. That's right about where it's been, and that includes your luggage. Okay. You need to do the shuttle to and from the airport, but we all usually split one. I usually coordinate all of that situation. I'll try not to get the one without air conditioning this time. Yeah. So a little less. It's going to be less. And then the other thing is the other couple expenses, there's going to be a hotel, but unless you're traveling with your husband, you're going to split the room with a bunch of us. I have a room that holds 6 people. So, yep. So we've got rooms already that we can split with people, and we'll help you work out that situation. So it really doesn't cost that much, especially because, again, most of you don't need to be there until Friday. So that really only means Friday night and Saturday night. So it's really not going to be that much when you split it. Sunday we fly home. So Sunday we have training all morning. We're done at 1, and then we go home. And then just keep in mind too that you'll probably have to buy a meal on Friday, because that's not included till like dinner probably. But that's really the only expenses. So really it is going to be less than $500 to go. Totally worth it. You've heard all of the things about why we go, what we do, and it's just a fun weekend. So remember to register by July 1st to get that $125 or $99. Thank you. So the drawings that they're doing, they're giving away over $20,000 in prizes, including 6 full lines of the new jewelry, which is usually about 100 pieces of jewelry that come out. It's a big deal. Yeah, it ends up being about $5,000. Yes. ColoRockstars in the house. All right. So, ladies, that's my deal with National Rally. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And just know that I will take care of you while we're there. I'm the rally mama, and that's my job, is to make sure everybody's in the right place at the right time and all of that. So, there we go. Okay.
And if you think about it this way, you can do 2, 3, or 4 parties, depending on what your own personal average party is. 2, 3, or 4 parties will pay for it. If you think about it on a proactive way or a reactive way, you go, okay, I don't have that in my calendar, what I'm going to obviously do. So will I be able to be equipped better to have those 2, 3, or 4 parties by being there? Absolutely. And so it really is an investment in your business.
Awesome. And you can't not go. No, Lisa. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more drawing and then I'm gonna hand the meeting over to Kate. I know, we'll let you do something. I know, you even got tickets in the drawing, love. Lisa win. All right, Kate.
Life is better than flip-flops. Awesome, yes.
Please, I want you to.
Okay, so, I'm really stuck with this business, or I just have really bad friends. Because everyone's like, no.
Definitely blame it on your friends, otherwise that's
So,
negative self-talk.
What I'm really good at is organization, as from my obsessive compulsive personality. So over the weekend, so I felt like I was doing something successful. I pulled off like over 200 images. I put them all into files according to what they are, and they're all labeled plus all the administrative paperwork that has been put out. And so I have this big file now. So it's got everything from like individual pictures of things to like outfits, so like a neutral outfit, like 3 things you can find it, and it has all of the paperwork, and it has like what is premier design and the golden guarantee, and it has just little funny things like you know, girl about yourself something pretty. Anyway, I have this huge file, and if you want it, or you have any jewelers who want it, I'm happy to share because I'm a successful organization. And I will share,
So is it a file that's shareable on Facebook? Like you can upload it to a Facebook file? Okay. Okay.
I'm happy to try it. There's like one for earrings, one
Yeah.
for
Albums, Google, what do you think?
one for outfits, one for
Sure. Oh, the drive that has the new Jiller videos?
It was like 4 hours.
Come on, girl. Do we still have tickets? Because of this? There is a drawing still. Okay, so Nancy gets a ticket for that. So Nancy will have t-shirts for us for National Rally, right? Yes, okay, that's called getting voluntold right there, ladies. Okay, awesome. So let's see. What I want to do is have you ladies pull up your CV reports. So you can grab your phones and you can sit by someone who can show you how if you don't know how. And that way, so your CV report is a way that you can see your activity from the month prior. And yours did not. No, it did not. No, it did not. What didn't? What are you talking about? You had a good month in March. That's right. You did not. Yes, do. Take my spot. I'm looking, ladies. I have things on my clipboard. I'm digging.
Okay, she's not.
There you go, there you go. Okay, so give you ladies a second for that. I got tickets for all kinds of things. That's because there's a good giveaway sitting up here and you're gonna want to have it. Mm-hmm. It's hiding. Okay. Is she calling you? Whose tickets are these? Tickets. These are your tickets.
I just took a bunch.
These are all ready to share.
Oh, thank you. That's what I was looking
I know, I see that now. Okay.
I need those in my life, by the way.
I have a tax question. So I contacted Premier that I didn't get a tax for, and he said because you did not.
Issue a tax form if you have a commission or if you got free jewelry. The rest of the time.
Free jewelry exceeding $500.
So how do you?
Schedule C.
Where's the piece of paper that you send in?
You do a Schedule C.
Yeah, I need to do a schedule.
You can talk to Jeremy about it after, but yeah, you don't get a tax form from Premier unless you earn over $500 in trips and jewelry, or collect commissions. Okay, ladies, we're gonna do some recognition. So first of all, I would love to have one or two ladies share a victory in your business from March. What is something, maybe it was a goal, a personal goal you had, or something that was just hard and you did it anyway, or a huge show, or a small show, or whatever. And you're gonna get a ticket too.
I booked a party in March. That was my goal.
You booked a party in March. How did you do it?
I had an open house in March and I had a party in March.
That's true. Lisa had a personal show at her house because Lisa's teachable. She said, I need jewelry shows. I said, you have a personal show. Lisa said, well, I just did that because she had one of everybody. Go do it again, because did everybody come to your first one? No. So she did it again. Did people come? Yes.
5 people came.
Yep.
I had 2 outfit orders.
Yep. So
Yeah.
that is victory. Good job.
I saw my customer post one of the Facebook fundraisers saying, hey, raising money for this thing. She's going on a missions trip this month. And I was like, hey girl, I don't have the money to give you, but I would love to have a fundraiser about that. And she was all about it. And so we had a $600 jewelry party, and she hosted it for me 3 times before, and the people that were there were all new people.
Nice. Awesome.
So
Getting in front of new faces.
dollars,
Yeah.
got people, got
I
got my prospect.
Yep. That's good. That's another one when you're feeling low on bookings besides the personal show. Doing a fundraiser. Yep. Really good. Yes.
Well, he put a challenge out there, and at first I read the challenge and I thought, nah, I can't do that. And then I thought, well, what do I have to lose? I'm not doing anything with my business. So I booked a personal show at my house.
Awesome.
I did stop and shop at 2 of my offices, and I had a lot of fun, and I had sales, and I didn't get any bookings, but I'm going to do another personal show because, like you said, I didn't have very good response coming to my personal show. I did most of my sales at the office stop and shop.
Got it.
So I'm going to
That's
do
awesome.
that. And I've
Awesome.
been studying and scheduling time to do that so that I can feel confident in style shows.
Awesome. I love that. So I did put a challenge out there, and I gave you customized goals. Like, so that's what I did. I went through CV reports from prior years, gave you a customizable goal, or if you weren't in Premier last year in March, then I did a goal for you that reflected your sales in October, because March and October are really similar. And so, yeah, so Kim was with us in October, so that's where I got Kim's goal from. And I think that's awesome, just to go, you know what, I can do that, which you can. You had done it before. You had done it before. That was the thing.
But I did it.
I gave you one.
And now I know I can.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the flamingo picture. The girls' night out thing. That's what she's talking about. It's the girls' night out thing. Exactly. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. Really good. Okay. So does everybody have their CV reports up? I would love you to stand up if you had an order in March. Did you have an order in March? An order. You put an order in March. Good job. Keep standing if you, wait, I'm coming, ladies. I'm coming. Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Stephanie's running recognition with me. All right, keep standing if you held 3 or more, or submitted 3 or more orders in March. Keep standing.
No.
3 or more in March.
If you submitted 3 or more orders in March.
Good job, ladies. Awesome. Okay, keep standing if you submitted 5 or more. We're talking orders, 5 or more orders. Huh? 5 or more group or individual orders in March. Like if you look at your list, there's just more. Yep, awesome. Okay. 5 or more. Yeah, not you order jewelry for yourself, but yeah. Right. Awesome. Okay, so how many did you have, Sarah?
6.
Leah?
6.
Maggie? 5. Valerie? 6. Awesome, ladies. Okay, good job. 5 for Sayla. High five. Yes, good job. Lucky ducky. Fantastic. Let's high five these girls. Woo, awesome. Okay, ladies, thanks so much. So I would love to have you ladies stand if you retailed $500 or more in the month of March. $500 or more. Awesome. Good job. Keep standing if you retailed $800 or more. Nice. 800 or more, baby. Awesome. Ladies, keep standing if you retailed $1,200 or more. A lot of bling, ladies. That's a lot of bling. Sweet. Are you getting tickets yourself? Okay, good. Okay, Sayla, what was your retail?
1774.
1774. Sarah. I know it went away. It's only for the clips.
1,977.
Yes. Leah.
3,600.
3,600. 1543. Leah gets some extra tickets. How many tickets does Leah get?
Hold on.
How many tickets does Leah get? She retailed $3,600.
Should I do it right now?
5. Thank you, Stacy. Leah gets 5 tickets. 1, 2, 3. What? Yeah, right. You pretty much just did get 36 tickets. Awesome. $3,600. So Leah, give us a tip. Can you give us a retailing tip?
I put the shout out to a lot of my customers, and only 2 or 3 of them can take me up on it. It's been really good. When I set up an online shopping link, I tell them if there are 2 or more online submitted orders submitted online by the time I arrive at their house party outside of 6 o'clock, I'm going to give them a guest of their choice. Because it's a super great. And this chick, like, she had $450 in outside orders by the time I arrived. That is 1 extra sentence I put in a very copy and paste, and remind them about it and say, hey, you know, another thing, if you get a couple of orders, again, most people go $450 in one credit. Like, I had a credit before I got there.
So how much does it cost you to give your hostess and a guest of her choice free shipping? What did that cost you? $10. Was that worth it? Was that worth it, ladies? I think that's worth it. That's awesome. That's a really good tip. Thanks for sharing. Awesome. Also, yeah, she says in there free shipping for you and yeah.
I'm still working on angles with like the hostess. So other free jewelry items are like, if you want to try free shipping, which anything I can get to make more incentive for her if she's work. I got another order. And then I give them a retail special on their outside orders. They get an additional extra 40%. And I was texting the outside order saying, hey, I have another 40% off item because they're not making another $6 to $8 on whatever expensive item they picked. That adds up when you
And it covers the free shipping.
Exactly.
Anyway, you know. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I am a jewelry lady right now because Steph gave me free shipping for watching it.
Ladies, we do things for free shipping. That's amazing. That's awesome. So was that worth that $5? Was that worth that? Thanks for that. That was good. That was good. Okay, I would love you to stand up if you
shared or invited someone to learn about Premier in the month of March? Did you share with somebody in the month of March or invite someone to learn?
I did. No, I did.
See now, good job.
But I turned it down.
Good job. And keep doing it if you had somebody sign up and join your team in the month of March. That'd be you, girlfriend. Awesome. Good job. All right. Well, ladies, I was so excited when I was going through and doing the newsletter or the recognition I put up the other day, and I realized that there were 99 jewelry parties. Gosh, could we have just done one more, right? It would have been so fun to say 100 over 99 jewelry shows in our area or in our team in the month of March. And if you really think about it, that's more than 3 parties a day on average. So ladies do want to get together. They do want to have jewelry shows. That's a lot of bling slinging going on in our area and from you ladies. And I just was really proud of everybody for getting out there and grabbing hold of the fact that this is really a good retail time of the year. And April is actually even better. So if your calendar is looking a little bit light, I would encourage you to do the 24-hour booking, to take some things that you learned from training today and apply them. It's one thing to go to training and soak it all in. It's another thing to go home and then put them into action, because you will not regret it. The sales in April are good. Ladies are shopping for Mother's Day, for graduation. They're getting out their spring wardrobes. They want tips. How do I wear jewelry with florals? How do I pair things with shredded jean shorts? Do I really wear jewelry when I'm out at the park with my kids? They want tips. They're eager to learn and they're eager to buy. So I just want to encourage you ladies to really go home and get some activity on your calendar in April. And hopefully in April I can come up here and say, we did 100 plus. So I think it's kind of cool though that we're at 99. So we're right there at that threshold. So anyway, you ladies are awesome. And
We interrupt this training to provide you with some more information.
So, recognition that.
My husband.
I don't belong up here, but I'm coming up here anyway. So, I think it's great to see the hard work you ladies have been doing. And as you guys know, there's not enough line out here beyond Kate. So,
So Jeremy and I took it upon ourselves.
So Kate had a really good month, and that happens often, and she's not always recognized for it because there's no one to do it. But I thought, and Sale also noticed, come to find out, that it was two.
Yes, I did.
Two. Oh yeah, you asked, and I knew, and so I'm like, I was like, I get it. So. I want to do 2 things. One is recognize Kate for her and also let you ladies know she works business hard, and I know you know that. But the truth,
nothing. We just want to tell you what she did in the month of March.
Just in March, pulling out 2 personal orders. Retail $6,840. How many shows have you done? That's unreal. 6. Okay, it was 6 shows. So 4 of her 6 shows were over $1,000. And then the 2 levels were $647 and $850. So across the board, all 6 shows were killer shows. It wasn't like she had one random really good one. So,
wait, I have to make it. Yeah, here. And you have to do the prize things, so you know.
Yeah, right.
So I think this is also good that the home shows are still rocking. And March and April are very much. They're still there. Good job, ladies.
Well, if you're gonna be Lena's putting my tickets in, I bet I can't to get them. Oh, you're precious. You know, really, because I thought about Jeremy asked me like, well, like what just happened? What are you doing differently? He's funny. He goes, all those things you talked about at regional rally, like hostess hand holding, like, are you doing that? Is that what changed? I'm like, babe, I always do that. So really what changed is absolutely nothing. I didn't do a single thing different in my home shows. So what I could actually pull out of that as encouragement to myself is that I had also 6 parties in November, which should be this banner awesome retailing month. And I had low attendance at my parties, several parties, the weather was a little bit worse than ideal for a jewelry show. And I had hostesses who weren't really pinging with me. And I had 6 jewelry shows in November and my retail was nowhere near $6,800. So what made it different in March? Nothing. What makes it different is just keep going. I mean, I still made money in November, don't get me wrong. You have 6 jewelry parties, you're gonna make money. So I still made money. The thing that my takeaway there would be just keep going. I wasn't discouraged. I didn't go to bed at night in November like, gosh, I really forgot how to sell jewelry. Geez, I really wish people would just buy more jewelry. No, I didn't do that because I knew that I've been in Premier long enough to know there's ebbs and flows. And then come March, I had totally opposite situation. I had highly attended parties. My hostesses were super engaged. All the hostess hand holding, they were picking up on all the things, the hostess challenge, get your pre-orders in, you know, all the things I was doing, they were just engaging more. Why? I have no idea. It was the same me, the same jewelry, the same presentation, the same everything. Well, I can actually find encouragement in that because we do learn new things at training all the time and training is important, but at the end of the day, you're showing the jewelry, you do it enough times, you make good money. I just had a lucky month. I mean, truly, I really did. I had highly attended jewelry parties, 6 in a row. I don't know. Thank you, Lord. That was great. I needed it. So, you know, but yeah, but I didn't in November. Still had my 6 parties. So I say just keep doing all the same things. When you know that what you're doing is rinse and repeat, then you just have to keep doing it.
So the last drawing is a pair of Waikiki earrings.
Oh, yeah. That's cute.
Then she gets to win them. We're all in there.
Right. The only option would be is Andre or Jeremy drew a name. Do. You want me to pull your name? Where are these? Try again. The ticket does not say Jeremy. So you know. The ticket says, stand up if your name starts with an S. The winner is one of these ladies, Sarah Correa. What did I do? No, your name starts with S. Thanks for coming. Feel free to stay, hang out, visit. I'm sure it does. Grab socks, take the jewelry, or help. Yeah, right. Stephanie and Kayla for running training. That was amazing.